Hi there Titans, and welcome back to another Titan Academy video. Today we'll be talking about the lookup input field in Titan Web. First, we'll show you how you can write your conditions so that the user can write in search text and automatically have values displayed for them. We'll show you how you can query your lookup values based on fields or variables from your project. We'll show you how you can display additional fields in the lookup modal that opens. We will show you how you can toggle autosuggest to allow or not allow your end user to have auto suggestions when they type in values. And finally, we'll show you a quick example of how you can use the lookup field as a filter for your power table. Let's get started. So first, I just want to demonstrate how this lookup field works. I have here a dropdown for SLA, and I'm bringing in accounts based on the SLA here and based on the search text that I put in the value here. So for example, I'm going to search for the SLA accounts that are SLA of silver and start with the letter G or have the letter G in them. And you'll notice that I have a couple of options right over here that are automatically popping up. Eventually, if I put in text where no account matches that, it'll tell me no data found. You can also look at the modal here and see all of the options that match my query here. And I'll show you how we can set this query up right now. So here's my lookup field for account. And in this case, what I'm doing, and we'll go back to the beginning here, is I'm querying 20 records from account where the condition is, first of all, that the account name contains the search text value. And this is what allows my end user to put in certain values, and then it filters down to the accounts that contain that search text value. I'm also using additional condition here, and I'm actually referencing a different field on my project. You can also do this with a variable that you have, and so you can filter down based on an additional value that you have stored in a variable. In this case, I'm just saying that my SLA also has to equal the SLA of the industry dropdown field. It's actually not industry, it's really SLA, but I've switched it, so now it will display as SLA. And the other thing I can do is I can add additional fields to my modal. So we saw what the modal looked like earlier. It only displayed the account name, but I can also add in here other values, such as, for example, the industry of the account, or maybe I also want to see the actual SLA just to confirm that my condition's working. And I can, of course, label these however I would like. The last thing I want you to see here is that the value is the account ID, and typically it would be the record ID. It doesn't need to be, but often that is what you would want, and you can use this value for different reasons in your project, which we'll demonstrate that a bit later. But in the meantime, let's put on debug mode so we can actually see this value behind the scenes. So I'm going to save and preview. And now if I select, for example, gold, and now I look at my accounts that are gold, notice I have additional rows here, columns here for industry and SLA, and I can see that they're all gold, of course, because I am only querying based on this SLA, and some of them even have an industry. Now, when I select one of these values, I'm displaying to the end user the name of the account, but behind the scenes, I'm actually also storing the value, and this lets me do some interesting things such as running gets with this, or even pushing this value to Salesforce as to a lookup field. So let's show you also how we can remove that auto suggest that we were talking about. So just to go back to preview for a moment, if I select something here and I write in a couple of letters, as we see, it auto suggests accounts that match my query. Now, if I want to get rid of that auto suggest, I can do that by going to interactivity and heading over to auto suggest and just getting rid of that option altogether. And now, when I put in text here, it's not auto-suggesting any values. I need to actually search for the account over here in order to find the specific account I'm looking for. Okay, the final thing I want to do is just a small example where I bring in new data based on the value that I'm getting from my lookup field here. And this is just a small example. You can do much more complex and interesting things. But for example here, I'm going to bring in the contacts, and I'll bring in 20 contacts, and I'm going to bring in all of the contacts whose account ID matches the value of my lookup field, which essentially will hold account ID. And I'll just bring in first name and last name for now. Let's also bring in account name just to show that we're getting the right values for the demonstration here. All right, I'll save. And I'll preview. And for example, I'll just select, here, let's grab ones that are more relevant that we think will have contacts. I'll grab this one. And I actually forgot that I need to trigger this only after I bring in my account. So let's go back. This is an important step, and I'm happy that we get to demonstrate it. Let's turn off the automatic power table get that happens on load here. I'm just going to kill that. And instead, I'm going to write a condition on my account lookup field to say if my account value is not empty, and my account value has changed. So I've gotten a new value for my account lookup. Then I want to trigger my power table get, which we know is bringing the contacts that match the account ID of my lookup field. So now this should work a lot better. Notice I'm getting no data because I haven't run my query yet. And now when I bring this in, it will bring the contact under this account. Now there are a number of other interactivities here that you could check out, such as the ability to add new records and adding prefix, and we talked about autosuggest. If you want to look into this more, you can of course look at any of the eye icons to watch videos on these particular items, and that's how it's done.